Behold, my glorious supporter CephalonCharon asks that I make an animal framework in the style of TierZoo's videos. Ooh, one of my favorites. Pretend that you can mod it and make it better for its suited role or another role entirely. If you don't know what we're talking about, the link is in the description to TierZoo's channel. I really like TierZoo. He's interesting in that I got to see his channel, the very first video that started, as it came up, so I saw his channel get big, and it's a really recent example of a channel blowing up really fast. TierZoo reached 1 million subscribers faster than most people, to put it mildly, and it was interesting to watch his channel get bigger because it was such a good idea. It was so obviously something people wanted to see. And yet he really did improve over the course of that lifespan, but it's a really good example of how you don't have everything perfect at first, but people are still going to like that kernel, that idea that's there. So anyway, I won't talk too much about TierZoo, but I do really like TierZoo. So link is in the description if you don't know what that is. Basically, it's about making a gaming allegory out of real life and talking about biology like through the lens of gaming, as though real life is an MMORPG kind of. So what we're going to do is make our own framework build out of that. Now, framework is sort of similar, like as a mindset, it's kind of similar where you holistically look at things a certain way. Most, if not all, builds in Outside, which is what TierZoo calls the MMO that is life, don't use any equipment. So normally in framework, I make, a warframe and then it synergizes with the weapons and the other stuff in the loadout, like the companion. We can do companions, like symbiosis is a thing, and that is what I'll be doing. But there aren't really, besides humans, and it would be a little boring, I think, to mod a human. That's cheating. We already do mod ourselves, clothes and adding abilities and such. So what we're going to do is we're going to mod the spider build. So like whatever spider build. We could do daddy long legs, let's say. We're going to mod the spider build, a spider build, to be basically symbiotic with humans instead of being something that most humans don't like very much. Spiders already have some overlap where they can kind of synergize with humans. They're pretty well adapted to the human-controlled meta. Humans are by far the most dominant build, and spiders respond pretty well to human-made environments already, but it would be better if they responded even better. The problem is that even though they're well adapted to those environments, most humans hate spiders, and as someone who kind of likes spiders, I understand why. Spiders are a bit creepy, right? So what we want to do is make spiders as uncreepy as possible by doing various things. So first of all, we're going to be taking off mods that we're not going to need anymore. We need to fill out that build space with stuff we're going to use more. So we need to take off some mods. And we're going to take off stuff like armored agility. Spiders have pretty advanced exoskeletons, yes. And we shouldn't need that very much. Spiders don't actually need that defense against very much. They are relatively durable, and they also have a pretty low terminal velocity. Like a spider can fall very far without dying. Most insects can. Like ants have no terminal velocity, if I recall. They would only die from falling if they suffocated on the way down. You could drop them infinite height and they wouldn't die. Spiders are the same way. They're relatively resilient to harm. They are sneaky, they are mobile, they shouldn't need much defense, but they do actually have relatively robust exoskeletons like most insects, so we're going to get rid of that. We don't need that. And instead, we're going to mod for cuteness. That's right. We need humans to like us more. So the goal is that when a human sees us in the house, it's going to be that they like us being there, not that they don't. We have to make a few other changes. Spiderwebs are creepy, so we need to add some stealth. We need to make them less visible to enemies. Now, of course, we don't have any stealth mods yet, but in the new Zandy update that I'm adding to Outside frame that we're creating a hybrid of, we're going to create the ability to reduce your alertness level, something that a lot of games like Warframe have, but Warframe does not have. So we're going to add that, and we're going to be speccing more into that kind of thing. So the idea here is that we're not going to put ourselves in places that other animals won't notice. We're going to put ourselves in places that humans won't notice as often. By putting our webs in corners as a spider player, we're making it much more obvious that humans are going to notice us. They know we're there. They know we make webs in corners. So we need to make them in more obvious places so humans are not looking for them in that place they've gotten used to looking for them. And we also need to make them outside more often. We need to stop making them inside. So we're going to develop the habit of making webs outside. We're going to focus on things like balconies, a place spiders already make webs all the time, but we're going to focus more on that. We're going to be outside more often. We're not going to be inside of humans' buildings as much. I think it might be relevant to use a burrowing or sort of carpenter ant type of strategy and make more of like a divot in the outside of a human's house, something more minor, and use that for shelter rather than using the literal inside of the human's house for shelter. That seems inadvisable because then we're a nuisance, then we're in the way. What we want to do is use the human's dwelling, especially porches, as a way to attract the insects that we're going to eat. And then the human will eventually just prefer to have us there because we are keeping the insects away. So we want to switch into an olfactory playstyle. The thing that we're going to swap out for all that armor that we lost is an olfactory playstyle. So we're going to attract the insects to our web and act like kind of a reverse citronella candle. We're going to be on a human's porch and we're going to attract the insects there. And over time, humans will learn that spiders will attract insects away from their space. You don't want to get rid of spider webs. They'll learn that you want to leave them at least for a little while. Now, sure, eventually humans might want to get rid of us. They don't want spider webs all over their porch after all, which is why we're also going to develop the behavior to clean up after ourselves. That's right. This is something that very few animals do, and it's a very good way to counter humans. Humans are usually pretty lazy about cleaning stuff up, so the only reason that they're going to go out of their way to get rid of a spider is if it's really dragging on the appearance of usually their porch. So what we're going to do is develop the habit of cleaning it up. We're going to do a more complicated tactic that, again, not very many animals have perfected. Here's where Zandy's lack of knowledge of biology, I don't know if any animals can do this. Can you even do this? We are going to eat our own web. That's right. It will take less energy to make more webs if we simply use them over again by reconsuming the materials, breaking them down into more web, and recycling, cleaning up after ourselves, so that humans will welcome us when they see a web there and then leave it alone, knowing it will go away the next day. We're going to use that adaptation where we don't make webs in corners. I'm pointing at a corner, but you can't see. To make it so we have some transition time. Obviously, for this to work, we need to change the zeitgeist, the common perception of how spiders are, like what spiders mean to humans. We need to change that. So we need to buy some time, and that's what not making webs in corners is for. We need to become less noticeable, more cute looking, and fluffy. But we can't become fluffy in the fuzzy spider sense because that creeps out humans. We need to get a coat. We need to have fur. There are a lot of different evolutions here, which is going to make it difficult. And it's really going to come down to which ones are most effective. But overall, I have faith that the spider player base can adapt to synergize with humans rather than being in this kind of weird in-between where they're good in the human-created biomes, but they're still kind of the enemy of humans, even though they're doing a lot of things that human players would value or could value, and it's kind of just off-putting because of the spider's appearance. That's an awful shame. We should do our best to hide from the human player's sight and use their environments as a way to attract insects by using porches as our new environment, or our more focused environment, and cleaning up after ourselves, like good citizens of the animal kingdom. I've been Zandy, and I want to thank CephalonCharon once again for their support, and for the really interesting idea